Well, hello. It's been a while. My last long form video was, I want to say, 3 months ago, and it did well, which thank you very much. But I'm just gonna go through some tips I found on TikTok for beginner artists, seeing which ones work, which ones don't, and yeah, I have 2 drawings I have up if you want to watch that, or I can be background audio, I don't care. So it's been a while since I was on YouTube, because at first I was going to make a video about the new movie Snow White, but then my phone shattered completely, and I lost that. So I have a new phone now, and hopefully I can make more videos. And yeah, so this is just a new video I just decided to whip up for you all. Hopefully I remember to link the people I watched and show in this video. If I don't do it right away, then maybe if you come back later you'll see them, but I don't know. I find stuff easier when you try to simplify it as much as you can. But yeah, if chicken scratch is your art style, like how mine was when I was simply just casually sketching, then that's completely fine. I feel like for the nose, it pairs on more anime art style than really anything else, which is most problems with art tutorials. It just teaches you anime and not a lot of other things. And the hair idea, yeah, I honestly understand. My hair was a little stiff, but overall this is a good tutorial. It's just some aspects only works with anime cartoony art styles, which I'm a cartoony art style artist, so. But yeah, I guess 6 out of 10.
If your butterfly drawings always look a little bit off, I'm going to show you a really easy hack to get them looking perfect every time. Begin with a little circle and a long tapered off rod coming from the bottom. Now grab a little square of paper, and on the edge, begin to draw the wing. Make a curved line going up at a 45-degree angle, and round the end of it downwards and bring it into the center with a straight line. The bottom wing shouldn't be as far out, and it should be more of a semicircle shape. Flip over the piece of paper and trace the exact same shape. Now take that sheet and put it underneath the original paper right next to where the body is, and simply trace the wing. Flip over the paper and do the same thing to the other side.
Okay, when I looked up beginner art tutorial, tips, I guess, I forget what exactly I put down, but it was somewhere along that line. They're just oversimplifying like a cute little simple butterfly drawing. And also, I'm pretty sure they drew a lesbian butterfly, which I don't know exists. Can butterflies be gay? I need to look that up. Hold on. I am back, and yes, they can be gay, which is, they only said about a male seducing another male butterfly, so it should have been blue, it should have been blue. But yeah, I feel like they're overdoing it, that's just overdoing it with all that paper and stuff. My opinion, it's just too much. Anyways, I give it a 3 out of 10 just because, the butterfly did look nice.
How to draw a side profile. For the male side profile, start with a circle, then draw a line at the edge of the circle. Make the jaw angular and draw the neck at an angle. I like to think of the neck like a tree trunk for the guys. The next step is putting in your proportions. The eyeline and brow ridge are closer together, while the mouth and nose are farther away. For guys, the sharper the features are, the better.
Again, with the problem of it only being really involved with anime, again. Sorry, I just hate it when I'm trying to learn something new about art and it's always just comes back to anime, which I get it. It's nice. We love anime, but when you're overusing it for the art tutorial, it gets kind of hard to understand. Like for me, I had to look up gacha videos because that's where my art stemmed from. Gacha, Lavender Town, and Drawing with Waffles. That's the only people who really inspired me the most. And it was just normally, you know, a little kid platform for like, you know, kids who wanted to draw. And it really didn't help much because it just made my drawings worse looking back at it. Because it was just, I don't know how to describe it. But also with the face, you don't want them to all be similar because each character should look different. Like with body type, nose, eyes, they should all be different. The only times I do not make my characters like mostly different with like eyes is when they are related and I want them to be similar in some way. So I use, you know, their body types to show. But I will give them credit. They're good at side profiles and I give them that 6 stars.
Digital art tips with Aloe. Day 1. Shading for beginners. Don't draw in your shadows. Putting them where you think they'd go often ends up inaccurate and random. Try making a clipping layer over your flat colors. Fill in a multiply layer with a dark color that matches the environment. Set a light source and erase the areas the light would hit. Simplified method to get shading with depth.
I 100% agree with Alan because, well, that's honestly what I do. Like, I look for the light source, I put a color I want as the shadow on it, and then I start erasing it because I find it really easier to do that than what they describe. And, you know, I guess I'll give them a 10 out of 10, you know. And also, sorry about the audio, I did have to turn my fan on. It was hot in my room.
How to draw face shapes in 30 seconds. Step 1, really ugly circle. Step 2, you know when you're drawing a fish and you kind of go like that? This like rounded V shape, put it right under the circle. Step 3, where they connect is kind of where I put the ear. The other one's just kind of over here. Step 4, optional if you want to play around with the liquify tool, if you want to make the face shorter or longer. Alright, once you have your base down, you can also draw a line down. For anyone wondering, I use Procreate. And as always, I'm using the Dreamy Sketch line art brush. Truly my go-to for everything. Then once you have your base down, have fun experimenting. Do like a little indent and do a pointier chin, like a bigger cheek. I'm sticking pretty close to this line that I drew, but you could also move the nose and the mouth wherever you want. Like lower or higher, up to you.
I like her content, but I feel like this could work with legit any type of art style, mostly, because you know how some people draw in a more cartoony art size. They don't really need that sketchy line art before actually doing the line art. But in my defense, I'm in between anime and cartoony, so I feel like this would work with any given art style in my area, at least. So 7 out of 10.
Stop drawing the base guidelines like this. Bro, you're trying way too hard and it's way too complicated looking. So instead, let me help you simplify it. All you need is a simple circle. From here, split the circle down the middle. Now split it down the middle again for the top of the eyes. Then add another line for the bottom of the nose. This should be roughly around the bottom of the circle. Now use super simple curved lines for the actual jawline. Then draw oval shapes for the ears in between the lines that you drew previously and you're done.
I feel like the biggest problem with this is, well, it's only the front view partially with like the shoulders cut off, and I don't think that really helps any artist really, because if I was a beginner artist looking at that, and actually my old drawings I only did the head and the shoulders barely because no one really taught me about it, but I had to learn on my own, and whatnot. So 5 out of 10.
Here are my favorite art tips for complete beginners. Tip number 1. Fall in love with painting, not the end result. Instead, look at painting as a process where you get to relax and do something you really care about. But what do you do when things don't go your way? That brings us to tip number 2. Whatever you do not throw away your painting. Learn how to be spontaneous. Transform that accidental smudge into a bird, or even better, another mountain. Look at it as an opportunity to add new things to your art.
I agree with what he's saying because, well, I feel like you should keep your old art, you know, because if you're ever having doubts, you could see what you improved on, right? And with painting, you know, I am terrible at it, but it's relaxing, and I have some of mine, even if I don't want to show you because it's terrible. So, I'll give him a 9 out of 10.
If you want to start drawing people but you don't know where to start, try starting with a stick figure. Pause to see the proportions. Once you have that, practice drawing them in different poses until you get comfortable. Then you can start using a box for a chest instead of the line, and then all you have to do is add limbs and you suddenly have characters. It was easy. Just go ahead and add as much stylized or realistic details as you want, and you're drawing characters like a pro. Go you!
I understand what she's saying with how I do my characters. I oversimplify and then start simplifying it back down. And finally, not one that talks about only anime, which is a good thing because, well, some people ain't into the anime, and you know, that's okay. But I like to see tutorials for beginner artists, you know, not including just anime.
3 reasons you suck at hair. Number 1, your hair looks like grass. Many beginners think that the details are at the bottom, but this results with the hair looking like clip art grass. Instead, add subtle lines that show the forms of the hair strands. Show the clump originating from the hairline and always add some form of curvature to the strands. Number 2, scratchy lines. Use big long strokes when drawing hair. This is a mistake I used to make because I thought hair had to have a lot of lines, and 8-year-old me thought that scratchy lines looked better. You'll be surprised how much smoother and faster you can draw when you minimize wasted movements. Number 3, design. Think big, medium, and small shapes. As humans, we tend to focus on the details and miss the bigger picture. We focus on the little strands hoping for a good result, but in most cases, it doesn't.
I feel like it only works with anime art again, just because with the big, medium, and small layers of hair, for me, I just group it up and make it a big shape so it's like recognizable and whatnot. But I honestly understand what she means. So I guess how many stars should I give her? I'll give her 7, okay?
Quick art tip because I'm tired of seeing people draw hands backwards. Please avoid backward hand syndrome. Look at this nice, young, distinguished gentleman right here. So as you can see from the hand right here, he is waving and his thumb is always facing towards his body, right? It's always facing towards his body. Let's get a back view. Turn around! Okay, here we go. Once again, his thumb is always facing his body, okay? When drawing hands or fingers, you have to remember that the thumb is always going to face your character. It's always going to face towards your character. Keep in mind, this also applies to when they're holding objects.
That's not entirely true. I mean, partially, yes, which I think it's a good tip, you know. But imagine, you know, you have your arms open, right? With your palm up, like you're out to give someone a hug. Your hand is facing the opposite way from your body. So I guess I'll give this a 9 out of 10.
Here are 4 tips for beginner artists so you guys aren't trash. Let's go. If you're trying to draw with your wrist, I will personally break your wrist for you. Instead, always use your arm because this gives you a much bigger range of motion and allows you to make much straighter lines like this. If you're trying to do line art and you're scratching at the paper, you're not going to get crispy lines. Instead, use your arm and use fast fluid movements until you get your line. If you think you can draw everything from imagination, you're trash. If you don't know 100%, always use reference. Coming from someone who wants clout, never base your art off of likes. This will kill your love for art, so always draw what you love.
I agree with what he's saying, but also I feel like you should, you know, take your time and like figure out if it works for you and what you don't. And I honestly, we artists should preach the last one. We shouldn't look for the likes and stuff. We should just, you know, enjoy the art we make and nothing else really. 10 out of 10.
I've spoken to so many self-taught artists in my live stream, like thousands of them, and there's one thing I keep seeing. You guys know nothing about negative space. When you learn about negative space, there's not too many things that you can't simply draw just by cutting out those negative pieces.
I wish I could show you more, but audio reasons. Anyways, I feel like they're right, but also wrong at the same time, because how I draw normally is, you know, big pieces first, small details last, you know, working my way down. And it may work, it may not, but it really just depends on the art style. Like, I'm not good with negative space. Like, I have a lot to learn. I'm no professional, but I feel like this takes a little bit more of a practice before doing any of that. But 8 out of 10 or 7? 8 out of 10. Anyways, I'm pretty sure that's all I have right now. Sorry it took me a while. I had school and summer break now, so that, and I haven't really felt like talking like to my phone just because I have 4 wisdom teeth on all sides of my mouth, so it hurts every time I talk. But I hope you guys understand, and let me know what drawings you like the best.